Okay, I recognize 70 from previous, and I know that I made it way more complicated than it needed to be, basically because of the notch cut on the angle face and the dimensions being laid out as they are. So I'm going to try and make this one a little simpler than last time. So we're going to pick up the metric template. We'll go to the top plane. Geometry can come back to. We'll remove the vertical, and so that comes back on the step. All right, 80 millimeters across, 60 millimeters on the depth, and the flat 20 millimeters. And we're going to show it as a point. I'm going to go ahead and mid-plane it across the top plane, so 50 millimeters. And we'll set the geometry. All right, so did not include the tip. So let's go ahead with make an adjustment. Instead of the 80 millimeters, we'll go to the 60 millimeters so that we're adding on to the outside. I was thinking about cutting it, but either way will work. So I'll pick up our sketch. Build in the geometry. I'm going to go center line on this one and set it to not vertical, horizontal, the one that's bolded, telling me to pick. All right, so 20 millimeters. And then the angle, I have 10 millimeters in the center. And 20 and 10 and 20 would be 50, so that looks all right. Features is extrude, and we're going to go through all, and the direction of the cut, reverse. All right, so making sure that it picks up the back, keeps it planar, and finishes out the geometry. All right, so when we open up the sketch, it's a little strange on that corner. So let's we're going to be parallel, and this is where I had problems before. We're going to be parallel to the ends. Okay, make sure that those are parallel. Oh, I did perpendicular. Yeah, let's go parallel and parallel. All right, for the dimensions then, we're 30 off of the end. And then 28 and 21. All right, so go back. And then this was the problem with the angle dimensions before, is that we're ending up a little bit on the triangle. So let's try again. We'll go from the edge over to the point, and that's still pulling the angle. But parallel to that edge. All right, so let's see what it looks like from point. Oh, you can see it jumping around, but it's not giving me the dimension. So we know what we want it to do, and we'll put the dimensions in. That's still just a strange way to dimension. Really, if we're cutting this, I would want to be up top, cutting through, and keeping everything normal to our face. Okay, so through all, and we'll set a direction. And the cut looks okay, just not exactly where we would expect it to be. So, can't help myself making it more complicated. We're going to go back to our geometry. Pick up the parallel. See, we'll go horizontal. And the problem here is when we go 21, it's going to extend into the geometry, and 28, we're almost to the end as well. So both of those solutions have issues. All right, so didn't really need to suppress, but we're going to keep that one for future reference. The spot face, then, we'll go into the hole wizard. And if I just pick a standard counterbore, I'm going to have to do a bunch of modifications to the sizing. So in that case, we're going to go to the legacy. And the legacy has the advantage that when we define it, we're defining pretty much everything. So counterbored and drilled. So let's see, the diameter of 20 is the through hole, so 10 millimeters. And then condition was up to next, so it's already there. Counterbore diameter is 20. And the C-bore depth is 3. And the drill angle, since it's up to next, doesn't really matter. Set the position, and we're 20 and 30 off of the edges. And I'll go ahead and accept. Alright, so that notch is still problematic, but we'll move on this time. And we're to 70. Fly on the next. Alright, couple of steps. Hexagon 95 across the flat, 7 inset, 11 millimeters back. That's interesting. Alright. So that looks like a top sketch. Probably won't worry too much about the offset, but we'll do the 95, we'll do the rectangle, and then start making the extrudes in the cut. So in the top plane, the sketch, pull our hexagon. We'll make one side vertical. It gave us the 95 across the flat, so inscribed. And I can pick the base circle. And we have, let's go with the center rectangle. And I want to pick up any inferences if I can help it. So 40 across the flats. And depth-wise, missing a dimension to the interior, so we'll make it the same, and then those can be horizontal. Okay, make sure it moves. We have 11 off of the face. Okay, so we're a little bit past center. And then the cut line, 11, 10 back from the point. Okay, well, we'll just let that go. So I don't think I really gained anything here by putting the sketch geometry in. And it being nested, it wanted to cut it anyway. So we'll go to the contour. It's going to be a blind in condition, 80 millimeters tall. Let's go with the offset first. So these three we'll convert in. And I'm going to bring these back, and don't really need symmetry. I'm just going to make those vertical so that they follow the same points. 11 back from point. So when I have opportunity to go to the object and just measure that way, I'll choose that over the over picking the endpoints. So select the chain. We're going to go to an offset, reverse, and we're going in 7 millimeters. That looks linear, not to cap the ends. All right, so here we're going to see if we can do like the convert and drag those back and make vertical connections. Okay. So pretty much since the 10 for the next cut comes off of that one, we'll go ahead and that goes to 14 millimeters off the base. So we could do the math, but we have the ability to offset from surface, go to the, clicked out of it, and we'll go 14 millimeters. And that'll set the depth. And then as far as the cut, we'll go back into the sketch. Really don't even need to worry about the profile. We just need to encompass the geometry. So collinear, coincident. Make sure I'm getting my endpoint there. Coincident. And then we're given the dimension 10 millimeters back from that step to make the cut. And then it's 35 millimeters off of the face. So we have stack up chain dimensions, but we'll get it in there. So feature extrude cut, same thing as offset from the surface, 35 millimeters. The pick in blue gives us the depth of the cut. All right, quick check of dimensions. It's okay. Let's go ahead and show the original. We'll open up the sketch. I'll select the chain, and this time I'm just going to convert it in rather than doing the from and to. And then this can be an extrude cut, and it's a depth of 46 millimeters. All right, go back and hide sketch 1. Control 7. And again, that doesn't quite look deep enough for depth, but since we're missing dimension, we're going to take our best guess at it. So highlighting, if we really wanted to call this out, we could go into the colors and just that face, put a reminder that, yeah, there's something wrong here. Let's go back and check that geometry. And we're at 71. Go ahead and save. All right, some fun angles. All right, back to center points, back to the end point, 30 degrees back. Okay, so that one comes off of the face, but then that one cuts back, so I'm going to use that one as a direction. 14 millimeters back to the corner, and then we have 15 millimeters have a height of 20 and width of 30. Okay, so those are doable. And then 6 millimeters, 2 places. Zoom it up just a little bit. Alright, so might as well start off with the full prism and start making the cuts. Nothing really that jumps out. Could probably, well, let's undo. Go back to the front plane sketch. Yeah, we can take the vertical out and get at least the 30-degree angle in place. Alright, so height. Is 45. And width is 70. And then we have the 30-degree. And rather than creating the center line, we can go to the endpoint, pick the arrow, set the 30-degree. Go ahead with the features, extrude, and then this is going to come out 50 millimeters. Okay, on the front face, well, now we can go with our direction sketch on the bottom because it really needs to be in place before we go into the direction of the cut. So let's go ahead and get that set with the 14 millimeters. And then we'll go back into the sketch, pick up that endpoint. And it should let me have a coincident. And if not, we'll see if we can force it. Otherwise, we would go to pierce, and it doesn't really seem like we would need to pierce in that instance. Alright, so 30 degrees. And then this is going to be a cut through all. And the direction of the cut is going to follow our sketch line. Alright, so that chops the corner off. Alright. And shouldn't need anything more there. Alright, going into the right plane. Let's go ahead and close this off. And dimension of 20. And 30 from the back edge. Okay, so that's floating, and I picked the wrong side. So let's just go display delete, and we'll take the coincidences off. I think the horizontal and verticals will still be okay. Oh, and 30 needs to go away, so alright, so that one can stretch, that one can come over this way. We'll reapply the coincident, bring this one back, and there again, you make the choice, and probably would have been about as easy to redraw it as make the modifications to the existing geometry. Alright, features, extrude cut, reverse the direction. And we're 15 off the back surface, so offset from surface, 15 millimeters. And let's go with the whole wizard. We'll go to the top, Control 5. Simple hole geometry, 6 millimeters, 2 places. Jump back to inch. So make sure that we're in drill sizes, not dowel holes. Six millimeters up to next, no near side countersink. Put our 2 holes in position, set them to be horizontal. Have a distance of 15 off of the back edge. Separation of 12. And 22. To this side. And go ahead and accept. Alright, so we're through with the line. We can hide it, which will show up. We can do the show, or hide from the right mouse button, or from the flyout, which the display is also F8, expands and contracts. Alright, P4-72. Alright, send the screen back to 100% for that one. Alright, looking at these, haven't done that one before. That's a repeat of one we did earlier, so I'm going to bypass 74. And then 75, pretty good size. Basically with the angles, don't see anything anything crazy with that one, so we'll do those two on this sheet. With the angles and the taper, step 10 millimeters, 25 back. Probably be looking at this front profile and then cut the angles in to begin with. All right, so we'll close that out. Go into the front plane. Make our L shape. Oh, need a little down angle. Looking for those inferences. Back to the origin. And zoom up a little bit. 60 by 80 and 20 and 25. Maybe a 28. Scan's a little fuzzy on that one. 10 millimeters and then 25 millimeters off of the step. All right, we'll go ahead and extrude that out mid-plane, 70 millimeters. And the bottom will be about as easy, so open up the sketch, origins on that side. I'll set the center line so that when it comes to a point, no, we could have gone midpoint, midpoint, and stayed with the vertical. Symmetric works. 38. Alright, and then features, extrude cut. Make sure we're setting the side to cut, and this is going to be a through all in condition. Go ahead and accept. So just a little bit of there. Let's go to the midpoint. We have 20, 20, and so that should leave 30 on the center, and 13 from the edge. Extrude cut with a depth of 40. Okay, I think I got everything, and we'll save it. Alright, fly this back in. Alright, zoomed up a little bit on our geometry, so we're in inches. We have the step, probably start with it. We'll pick up the geometry, making it flush, and then to an inch. 0.75 two places. Isn't really showing anything. Yeah, it does show a little half moon there on the backside. So 1/2 inch 4 holes. There's the confirmation. So all right. File new. Go to inch. I'm going to go to the right plane. Put the little step in. Look for the inference back to the origin. Oops, still in the line. Jumped back over to dimension. 2.75. 1.38. 0.75. 0.375. Let's go ahead with mid-plane. And 3.25. All right, we'll set the sketch for the top, and then we'll go to parallelogram, since it will let us drag off at kind of the weird angle and still end up with our geometry. So 1 inch on the back, 1 inch on the front, and then the width references 0.27, but with the reference, but we're not given anything as far as a depth, so I don't think that 0.27 should be referenced. It's pretty much the thickness of the web. So, all right, and then the height is 1.5. Okay, the through holes, 1/2 inch. So we'll set those to equal. 0.5, 0.75 two places. Make sure that those are vertical. And then our dimensions, 1.25 and 0.75. Yeah, and watch that undo. Set the diameter and went to undo the diameter, and it also undid the last dimension. Alright, so center line from the origin back. So one of the advantages of the midplane is I can always identify that origin. And went to the midpoint or something there. Nope, vertical. It just looks weird going across the angle. Okay. And then we'll go to mirror items. And those will be cut through. All right, so looking at our geometry. Okay, 0.75. Set those to equal, and then the center points to horizontal. 0.75, 0.875 off the edge, 1.25 between centers, and 0.75 from the top. Features, extrude cut, up to next, through all. Alright, so that gives us our geometry. We can go ahead and save P4-75.